So having that fire and then that experience with a dad who I love so much, and then being able to internalize that, I always try to capitalize on every single moment I have, in the sense that I need to give everything I can give in those moments. I am passionate about life. I am passionate about doing the work, and I want people to feel that.
Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Connect Over Coffee. Today, I got my A1 with me, Jen, who's going to be helping me chat with Chinny, who's the director of Peace Players International.
Thanks for joining us today.
Sorry. Absolutely. It's a pleasure to join you all. I'm excited about the laughter, the good conversation we're going to have. And yes, it's Chinny Nwagbo. So yeah.
Oh man. Don't kill me on that one, Chinny. I don't know what the deal is, but I promise you by the end of the chat here, we're going to get it right. I'm going to get everything down packed. I'm already writing it down how I have to say it.
I got you. One of the things that I do to help people try to remember my name is the song "Not by the Hairs on My Chinny Chin Chin."
Yep.
Yeah. There you go. That's all it is, right there.
There we go.
Can't think about it too much.
Right.
There we go.
Yep. So those for you guys watching, it's Chinny, not Chinny, like I said, Chinny. So we're going to keep it moving with that right forward there.
All right. So we are going to get it kicked off with our 2-minute drill. Are you ready for some rapid fire questions?
I'm ready for it.
All right.
All right. Coffee or tea?
Can I say neither? Cappuccino? I'm like bougie, like give me a latte, a shot of espresso. All right. I like both too. Okay, go ahead. Not playing.
I know. Favorite athlete?
Favorite Serena Williams.
Favorite sports movie?
Favorite sports movie? No, I have one.
Right. Favorite movie?
Okay. There's a few, but I used to love, and you can judge me, Mary Poppins and the Sound of Music. Sorry.
I love Mary Poppins. So
never saw it.
Oof. What? Okay.
You gotta change that.
We'll talk about it later.
Never saw either of them, actually, to be honest with you guys.
It's okay. It's okay.
We won't take it personal. So favorite country you've played in?
Favorite. Oh, I never try to do favorites with this, but I love every country I've played in, and I think I love them all. I would say Spain.
Okay.
Spain was, but like I played in like Spain. I played in Israel, Brazil, Poland.
That's why we had to ask, because they're all so amazing.
Yeah, Spain is Spain. Well, whoever's listening and you were my teammate and you didn't play in Spain, I love you too. So we'll go with Spain. Yep.
Did you take a trip to Ibiza while you were in Spain?
Yeah, we played in Ibiza. Mm-hmm.
Oh, even better.
Yeah.
So are you more of a cook at home person, or do you prefer takeout?
These are really hard questions because I'd like to say I'm an equal balance of both. I can cook anything. I love to cook. I love to entertain, but I really also love, and I wouldn't say take home, I would say I love really quality, delicious restaurants and food from around the world, right? I played around the world. So in Spain, you can have the best seafood. In Poland, you can have there's so many different delicious, oh my God, you can go to Israel and have the best spices. And it's so I like the experience of going into a restaurant that serves me delicious food and then coming home and making that same food at home for people to eat and enjoy.
Follow-up, favorite dish you like to cook then?
I can cook anything. There's no favorite. Whatever you want, I'll make for you. What's favorite for me is the reaction. If you're like, woohoo, I'm like,
all right.
I try. Yeah.
Love it.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right. Hit the game-winning shot or have the game-winning block?
Game-winning shot all the way, baby.
All right.
People, yeah.
I like it. And then finally, what would your walkout song be, or just that song that gets you hype every time?
Wow, these are you guys know I didn't play for years. Okay. My hype music.
Hype song could be from what gets you hyped for a meeting, what gets you hyped to crush this workout. What song
Nigerian, so I'm gonna say Afro beats. Any Afro beats music. I'm in a good big mood. Girl, if you, yeah, you know, like any Afro beats, you know, because Afro beats are smooth. I mean, you know, once you go back, okay, anyway, yeah, that I'd say Afro beats, yeah.
That's good. That's good. I was actually listening to that before we hopped on here. So.
Oh, you see?
You had
to.
There we go.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Now that we're all warmed up, we got to know each other a little bit better. Let's jump into it here. So you've been involved in basketball your whole career, whether you're a coach, a player, or on the business side of things. Is there a role that was your favorite or you found most valuable to your career journey?
Ooh, that's a really good question. You guys asked a lot of favorites here. And I'm going to push back a bit and just tell you that every single part of my journey is what made me who I am. So I would not say that there is a favorite, but there is a part that sticks out most that I think is a determining factor of everything that I've acquired until this point. And that was when I was in 9th grade. So I started playing basketball in 9th grade, right? Was not good, but was really athletic. Was walking in the hallway and that's where I met my coach. And he said, "Do you want to come out for basketball?" And I said, "Oh, sure, why not?" And he lit a fire in me that I have only fed, and it's only grown as I've evolved on my journey as a basketball player, right? And then this sports for social good space, and now in this nonprofit, and just trying to make sure that the platform that I had, I'm paying it forward to other youth athletes in any way that I can. And why is that important? Because there were so many people at that time that were telling me that I would not be a good basketball player and that I shouldn't be on the team, right? And that I wasn't going to get a scholarship. And I was so behind, right? Because these girls that I've been playing with had been playing together since they were like 6, 7 and been on a team, and they already knew who they were and they were friends. And so having someone say to me, "No, you're going to be a cold-blooded beast. You're going to be great." And me go, "Okay, well, that's what I'm going to be." And working hard, getting to practice 2 hours before, staying 2 hours after, always getting the grades, and just having this goal, this drive, and being able to take this negative energy that I was getting from these outside sources and internalize that as fuel, and determine that the only reason why people want to see negative things in me is because they're so afraid of the potential that I have as an athlete. And being able to have that mindset and really align my goal and my dream with that, right? Being able to do anything that I put my mind to. So I would say that. Hopefully that gives you an answer. Maybe just the very beginning of my career is the part that sticks out the most, because that is the part I always go back to, right? I knew nothing and I had to learn it. I always go back to that. When things are hard, you always have to go back to that learning stage and being appreciative of where you are and how you move along that path. So.
Yeah,
is that long-winded?
It's definitely not. I love the story of going back to the beginning and
always
kind of kicking off your career journey where you're at, and kind of motivates you to go get after your dreams you're looking to, and also stay where you are in your current role and motivate you to just always learn new things. So yeah. I love that story there for sure.
Keeps you humble and honest. Go ahead, Jen. What do you want to say?
Yeah, I was just going to say, like, you just got me thinking, like, how you, like, before you even really answered the question of how you got to where you are as like sports as a social good, like that's what you're doing now. Right. And then just made me think, like, having worked with you at a few of those junior Wizards camps, like, do you feel that you took what that coach did for you, like put the fire in you, made you feel like you're going to be the best you can be? Like, do you feel like you give that to the kids you work with now?
Absolutely. Absolutely. There's been a sequence of events that have happened in my life that have also pushed me or made me lean into that space. Like my dad died when I was in college from cancer, and his dying made me understand that life isn't promised and that every moment is the right moment to be the best you that you can be. And so having that fire and then that experience with a dad who I love so much, and then being able to internalize that, I always try to capitalize on every single moment I have, in the sense that I need to give everything I can give in those moments. I am passionate about life. I am passionate about doing the work, and I want people to feel that energy. If that's the only thing they feel, at least they feel that energy and they feel that investment into them. So yes.
Yeah. Well, I feel the energy, and I feel like I'm going to put you on payroll for meetings to prepare me to get me hyped before every meeting.
Skip the hype music. We just need
and the dancing. Okay, yeah.
Love it. So to piggyback off that, in addition to what you're doing at Peace Players International, you're also currently the international sports envoy for the Department of State, which is a pretty cool. I feel like not many people would think that a role like that exists. So can you talk a little bit about how that came to be and some of the work you do in that position?
Yeah, okay. So let me talk a bit about Peace Players, and I'll bounce back to that. So Peace Players, we use the transformative power of sport to bridge divides between historically conflicted communities around the world. I'll say it again. We use the transformative power of sports to bridge divides within historically conflicted communities around the world. So we go in and we use this sport and we bring people together. An envoy. So what does an envoy look like, right, for the Department of State? It's kind of like an extension of that, right? Except we're going into these US embassies around the world and really defining and honing in on our allyship with those countries. And so an envoy is really, if you think about it, volunteership, right? So I am going to these countries. So in 2019, I had the opportunity of going to Tanzania, Azerbaijan, Kosovo, Albania, right? And doing the work that matters. In Tanzania specifically, we were working with a group of Maasai girls, right? The policy that we were talking about that was at the forefront of all the work that we're doing is a policy that had been eradicated years ago with underage marriage, right? And so that was really practiced in Tanzania, and they passed a policy to ensure that that was no longer practiced. But in some parts of the smaller rural villages, remnants of that, eradication had not taken place, right? Had not taken root. And so we were in this little village in the Maasai country working with 200 girls who this man had gone there and created a school. And what we know about the school is that if girls receive their education, they're able to break the shackles of underage marriage. And so these girls are in the school and they're learning basketball and they love it. And they're getting these opportunities to go internationally and play in these leagues and have exposure to education outside of their villages. And it is educating them to be strong and powerful women. That's the work I do as an envoy, right? That's the volunteership I do as an envoy. And so I didn't know it existed, but like anything that I ever want to do, I kind of just get a little nosy about it, a little stealth, and I'm like digging and I'm trying to figure out and doing all these informational interviews. But yeah, that's what I do. I love that. I love sports diplomacy. I love the transformative power of sports. It can change things. It can change mindsets. It can change perspectives. It can get people in a room who otherwise wouldn't be in a room talking about sports. And then it opens the door to those uncomfortable conversations you otherwise wouldn't have, right? Sports is a big deal. And so that's kind of the work that I was doing. I do in those two spaces.
Yeah, you say it so slightly, like, but that's really awesome. The work that you're doing there, things I would have never thought of, going out. I think that kind of goes back to you playing around the world. You get inspired and see the different countries and what the struggles that they may have, and then how sports brings that together. So
right.
That's amazing work that you're doing there. It kind of puts I feel like what we're doing, a little bit like on my side of my profession, like, I thought I was doing something in the community a little bit, but you're taking it on a global level, which is amazing to see and amazing to hear about.
Yeah, no, and I don't want to take away from any of those things, right? Every part that we play in this space, so I guess it sounds very cliche, to help change the world is important, right? Yeah. Every single part is important. And so, no, we are doing the work that matters. And so I'm happy to just be here with you all in this space and this energy with people who care about making the world a better place. So yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. That's what we're trying to do. But to go back just a little bit to a little bit of different topic, a little bit of a heel turn here. Life after sports is kind of one of our evergreen topics we like to discuss, partly because Jen and I, we're both collegiate athletes, so we always kind of talk about what that transition looked like from when we hung up our rackets, hung up the court, the basketball, put it on the rack and everything. Can you share with us a little bit what life after playing professional sports looked like overseas, and then how you transitioned into the business side of sports more?
Wow. Oh, that's a really good question. So I am a very transparent person. It was hard, right? It's so hard to get people to understand these brilliant core characteristics that you acquire on the court transfer dynamically and powerfully and amazingly into the corporate aspect, right? Because everybody wants to know, okay, where's your work experience? Okay, well, yeah, that, no,
Yeah.
can you, no, okay, that's great. You can bounce the ball. How does that help you here? But they don't want to see the teamwork, that leadership, your ability to adapt in fast-paced environments, your ability to acquire languages that are not of your own, the subtle nuances that you pick up, that subtle cultural nuances that you pick up in different countries around the world. They don't want to see those core characteristics that really do amplify and help a corporation become great, right? Especially if we're thinking about equity, right? We're thinking about diversity. We're bringing different perspectives to the table. And so it's a really hard thing to try to articulate in your resume. And so the transition was very not easy, but again, like anything that I ever do, I really dig deep into it, and I got a mentor. I saw someone who was doing the kind of work that I was interested in doing, and I latched onto them, and I learned from them, and I asked for informational interviews with people who were doing the work that I was doing. And sometimes I was successful and sometimes I wasn't, but there was a lot of space of writing things down and researching and finding what it is that I wanted to do, and being patient with myself, going back to when I first started, right? Going back to the rudimentary space of basketball and that fundamental grassroots space, and really being patient with myself and telling myself that these things take time. And so the transition was not easy, right? It was tough. It's also tough, and we got to remember, it's tough to be on the court with all these beautiful lights and people are like, yeah, great job. And then when the lights go off, they're like, oop, sorry, can't help you. Oop, nope. No, there's nothing in place to ensure that you're just as successful as you were in your professional career in this next phase of your life. So the transition was hard. But if you are consistent and if you have that indomitable will to succeed, you'll find someone who is kind enough to bring you underneath them and underneath their wing, and you'll find a way. So we'll say that.
Yeah, I think, that you hit on a really important topic, especially when you think about female athletes and professional sports. Where do they go into the job force after that? After, their career is over, and you're starting to see some companies putting that into place with different potential partnerships and sponsorships, but they are, some of your bigger companies like Nike, Dick's Sporting Goods also has that with the WNBA, right, with that career after they're playing. But do you think that's going to be an upcoming trend just in the culture that we're in today, where we're seeing these types of partnership with these big businesses, these big brands, having that workforce ability for athletes coming out of their careers?
I think so. I hope so. I think it's always been there for the men. I think there needs to be more for the women. I think when you retire as a woman, it's so much harder, right? To be able to get into this space. Also, too, my situation was a bit unique, right? I was a professional athlete for 11 years internationally. I didn't play in the WNBA. And so a lot of these initiatives that you're talking about that these Nikes and different people are offering, I don't qualify for those. They're like 11 years. That's really great, but you didn't play in the WNBA, so sorry.
Yeah.
You didn't get drafted, so sorry. Sorry. You're not the same. Although we all know, well, I don't know if you know that most WNBA players can make most of their money overseas, right? The WNBA is what, 4 or 5 months? And you go overseas and make the real money. But so yeah, it's really, I think the initiatives are great. I think also too, we need to make sure that they're equitable, right? The women already have limited spaces to get into these corporations or in these environments that we have limited support. And so if there are opportunities to take in people who fit the bill, but maybe don't have the WNBA title, but do have the international experience and are adamant and passionate about the work, let's make those adjustments.
Yeah.
To make sure that they're included in the conversations. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, just not to capitalize the conversation here, because that really intrigues me, especially about the business. When we talk about business and stuff, Jen knows I ranted about it yesterday. But ownership is something I always kind of bring up when we talk about investments. We see the Kevin Durant's, we see the Carmelos, LeBrons, and the ownership that they're doing. Do you feel that this is all kind of working its way for women to kind of build those venture capital companies, to build in those investments, have part of stake in different leagues? I know Renee Montgomery, we're talking about WNBA again, but Renee Montgomery down what she's doing with the Atlanta Dream. Do you feel her success is kind of opening the doors for those bigger and broader investments in the sports entertainment field that also will then be transferable into bigger businesses like per se, Serena Williams and the other gentleman I just mentioned there.
Great question. And so one of the things that I want to highlight too, when we talk about venture capitalists, we talk about Elena Beard. She's a venture capitalist.
Yes.
I want to say that I don't know the difference specifically, but I'll say what I think. And I'll do more research and get back to it. Typically, I don't like doing it in that way. I like to do the research and then say what I know. But I think, like you said, there's going to be far more opportunities for those superstar men who make all those millions of dollars to start to think, oh, okay, let me think about ownership. And I love that there's creating spaces for them to be able to really lean into that and start to think, like, why are there not enough athletes that own, like, what's going on there? Why don't athletes own the arenas and the gyms and the teams that they play for, right? We should be buying into that. But I want to say the thing that you said about Renee Montgomery, who's doing a great thing, is that women are a little bit different. You may see her highlighted, and I think she's doing phenomenal things, but also know that women are always working behind the scenes. And they may not be highlighted. Well, probably only highlighting the women who get to Renee Montgomery's space, but we're not looking at the trailblazers who helped Renee get to that space, right? So I think the women's story is a little bit different in that, and I think that there probably are a lot more women who have ownership. Like, but if there are women who have ownership, like, I don't know that she was an athlete, but the Lakers, she owns. There's a daughter who owns the Lakers. I forget what's her name.
Yeah, Jenny Buss.
Yeah, for example.
Yes.
So we don't talk about those women, right? We're talking about women who were former athletes who go into that space. But I think it's important to highlight that there are a lot of former athletes who are working in these spaces behind the scenes to ensure that the Renee Montgomerys are doing what she's doing, what she's been placed in a position to do. So, yeah. I hope there's more. There needs to be more. Course,
I think there are more. Their stories just haven't been told yet.
Exactly. Right.
Sorry. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
That's it.
That's it. It's just like the Carol King quote that I love to bring up. There would be more of us if we just saw us. So we mentioned Elena Beard. Jen and I know the work that she's doing in that space, and Renee Montgomery and some other people, and Jenny Buss and people that are names that Sheila Johnson. That's one who doesn't get the respect that she should probably for what she's done. So I do feel like we're able to share more stories, and that's what the Connect is all about, is sharing these stories and uplifting the stories of minorities, and especially minority women of business there. So I love this conversation. We could probably have a whole nother segment just based off that conversation here, but we'll go back to the script here, stick to the plan.
Right.
Yeah. No, I love all of that. And yet I know we're going to move on, but just touching on, I think there's a handful of like soccer players that are also looking into in their own teams. So I think it is growing. And yeah, we're definitely going to see more female names out there as owners or minority owners or whatever in the future.
Right. I agree.
But kind of, I feel like to take the mindset of those women, probably, everybody's got an MJ moment. We talk about it often, as Danielle mentioned, being former athletes, there's been times where something was said or done by somebody that like put a chip on our shoulder and just motivated us to be better and propel us forward. So the question we have for you here is, have you had any MJ moments in your career? I know you touched on the 9th grade situation, going back to the beginning, but anything more not more relevant, but more in the future here, or do you think that's
a good question. I hope you don't mind me changing it to instead of being MJ to a powerful woman. So I'm going to say, if I've ever had a Serena moment.
I don't mind. I'm a tennis player. I don't mind.
Because I feel like Serena's, well, we all know that she's the GOAT. And also she's one of those people, if you tell her she can't, she'll show you why she can. And I think I'm constantly in that space, right? That MJ, that Serena moment, where people have go out of their way to tell you why you aren't supposed to be doing what you want to do. And but those people don't matter, right? Those people are only fuel. And I think as you continue to chip away and climb, or let's not even say climb, let's say as you continue on your path, there will be obstacles and people who think that they're doing well, give you that unsolicited information you did not ask for. And you just got to be mindful of that and be smart. And of course, I mean, if you don't have those people putting those chips on your shoulders, then you're really comfortable in your space, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
There, if someone's not pushing you in some kind of way, and it doesn't have to be negative, of course, it could be very positive. But yeah, I think those types of situations resurface often. I used the one, like you said, when I was younger, but I think the younger one has taught me that as you get older, I don't care what you think about me.
Yeah.
There you go.
So I won't even give those situations the praise, and just go, they happen. They're like a grain of salt that roll off my back and continue going. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man. Well, Chinny, we made it to our last question here, possibly our favorite question. It's the shit you wish you knew.
Right.
Which loosely translates to, what is one piece of advice you wish you could tell your younger self or someone just starting out in this sports and entertainment business here?
Wow, I love this question.
That's why it's our favorite.
Something I would tell my younger self.
Yeah.
It's something I was already telling my younger self. I know this probably sounds like she is not humble, and that's okay. I used to be in my, I'll give you a little background. I used to be in my room, and ninth grade, remember I told you I wasn't any good, but I was really athletic, so I can catch the ball with one hand. I could touch the rim, and I was really fast. But I just didn't know the game, right? I didn't have basketball IQ yet. And I would sit in my room, and this is the real deal. And I would practice by myself how they would interview me when I became the MVP. And I'd be like, so tell me about and I would go like, and I'd be like, well, it's not me, right? It's a team effort. And my mom would like knock on my door and be like, who are you? Who are you talking to? And I'd be nobody. And so I would say I knew, and I will always know. And I think it's just believe in yourself. I believe in myself. I believe in myself. There are moments that I get down, and I just go back to, no, you were made for this. Nah, just keep going. Push yourself. And so I knew that back then. I know it now. So that's it. I would say, if you want to get really touchy, I would say in love, I would say, just take your time. Take your time to find the right person for you. But no, I believe in myself. I believe wholeheartedly in who I am and what I do. And so that I would just continue on the way that I've been.
Yeah.
And all those people who try to destroy your confidence, they don't matter, because people will try to destroy your confidence, especially being a woman of color. You shouldn't have that much confidence. You shouldn't feel that way about yourself. But I come as a representation of tens of thousands of Nigerian strong Black men and women who fought to ensure that I am now in the position I am to do the things that I would like to do. That is something I'm very proud of. And so I don't know. I don't have one, because I am what I'm supposed to be.
That is awesome. There's so many good gems from this conversation here. The swagger to believe in yourself, a willingness to always be learning. I know that's not grammatically correct right there, but I'm going to keep saying it, always be learning. But definitely some awesome gems. I really appreciate you. Thank you for taking the time for chatting with us today, Chinny. I really appreciate it. And then, of course, thank you guys for tuning in for another episode of the Connect Over Coffee. If you want to see more chats like this, please be sure to hit the subscribe button below. And don't forget to follow us on LinkedIn, Facebook, and of course, IG. Looking forward to connecting soon, guys. Thanks.